So welcome back everybody to the 31 Days of Horror. So we're on our 10th day, and today we're looking at something a little bit weirder. It is 1988's The Lair of the White Worm. I do apologise for the lighting, I'm having to do this at night time for once. But yeah, this is a film that clocks in at 93 minutes long. It's a full-blown horror film, directed by Ken Russell. Not seen any of his other films, but I have heard great things about the likes of The Devils, Altered State, Tommy, and Crimes of Passion. And yeah, this is definitely a film that has got me interested in the rest of his filmography, which I will hopefully get around to at some point. But yeah, it stars Amanda Donoghue, who I've only seen in Liar, but she was really rather good in that. As well as Sammy Davis. Again, I've only seen her in one role, and that was in Mona Lisa from the same decade as this, and she was really rather good in that as well. As well as Hugh Grant, who I've not seen any of his romantic comedies really, but he was really good in Paddington 2, Cloud Atlas, and Florence Foster Jenkins. And it also stars Peter Capaldi, who was really rather excellent in the likes of Paddington and Paddington 2, as well as The Personal History of David Copperfield, In the Loop, and more recently, The Suicide Squad. He was the bald guy with all the stuff sticking out of his head, if you don't remember his character name, because I certainly don't. And yeah, this film's plot premise is about a remote corner of England's Peak District. A mysterious skull is unearthed, but even weirder is that Lady Sylvia steals the skull for use in worshipping, very erotically, her pagan god, the White Worm, who hungers for the taste of virginal flesh. So that makes it sound a little bit weird, and there is some weird elements to this. So yeah, it's probably not a horror film for everybody, but it is a really rather good one. And yeah, it's a delightfully weird horror film from Ken Russell. And even though this is the first film I have seen from him, based on the quality of this film, I will hopefully see other films from him, like I said earlier. The cast is really great. It has an effective score. It has really good cinematography, superb practical effects, some really trippy visuals, and a grossing plot and a creepy atmosphere that all in all make for an enjoyable horror film. And yeah, it's also got a really rather campy tone to it in places, some campy humour. So that can be a little bit off-putting, I imagine, to some people who are expecting a more serious horror film. But I mean, honestly, look at that cover. You're really expecting a serious horror film from that? And yeah, getting into a little bit of spoilers here, there is a white worm, which is why I say there's really rather good practical effects, because the white worm practical effects are superb. It doesn't appear for very long, or for all that long, but still, it's really, really rather good. And yeah, there's a few more shots from the film on the rear there. You can see it, so that's what Amanda Donoghue turns into, by the way. And yeah, it's a really, really good film. Really nicely done on Blu-ray as well. It's relatively new release in terms of being on Blu-ray. Only came out a few years ago, in fact. So yeah, it's easily a film to find. And in fact, Vestron Video, who did this, have done several other more, rare films like that, to be honest. So yeah, highly recommend it, especially if you're into your more, out there kind of horror films. Like I said, it's got some trippy visuals into it, but it's also a mix of like campy humour, eroticism, and out and out horror as well. So yeah, but it's definitely one of those films that is a British oddity, because you have a full-blown British cast, two of which have gone on to great things like Hugh Grant and Peter Capaldi, who not only was in those films that I said, but he also had a stint in Doctor Who. So yeah, it is an oddity to see these big name actors in a really rather low budget horror film, because it did only cost $2 million to make and made barely half of that back in the US alone. So yeah, but still, I really do enjoy it. And yeah, the cast was what wrote me in, because I was interested to see what Hugh Grant and Peter Capaldi would do in a kind of horror film like this. And they put in a really good showing, and it does go to show that a lot of actors do get their start in horror films. You could just look back on history in the likes of Jennifer Aniston or other actors like her who have been in horror films to start with and then gone on to even bigger things. So yeah, a real oddity of a film, but yeah, definitely one that is worth seeking out if you can. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.